Setting up electricity or internet when you move, usually a total breeze. But moving to Chicago, well, that's a whole different ballgame. If you ignore their unique property-centric water system, it can literally derail your home closing, or worse, leave you on the hook for thousands in inherited debt. Yikes.
Welcome to The Explainer. I am so pumped you're here today because we're going to untangle one of the most notoriously confusing municipal processes out there. Consider this your ultimate step-by-step insider survival guide to establishing and managing water service in Chicago. Whether you're buying your first home, renting an apartment, or honestly just trying to figure out why your utility bill looks the way it does, we're breaking it all down. You'll leave this explainer ready to navigate the system with total confidence. All right, let's dive right into our roadmap for today. We'll cover Chicago's unique system, preparing and applying, fees and billing structure, timeline and activation, account management and support, and wrap up with a quick conclusion and disclaimer.
Section 1. Chicago's unique water system. Let's tackle the single biggest misconception out there about water billing in the Windy City.
So, if you've ever felt completely lost trying to set up your water bill, trust me, you are not alone. Just look at this quote from a user on the Chicago subreddit. They were moving from a rented apartment into their first house, and they were, frankly, pulling their hair out because there was literally no sign-up button anywhere online. And you know what? There's a very specific structural reason for that missing button. You really just can't call up the city and say, "Hey, I'm moving in, put the bill in my name." Here's the crucial detail. Chicago's water accounts are strictly tied to the property itself, not the person occupying it. So for renters, this means your landlord is almost always the one handling the bill. The city actually won't let a tenant take legal ownership of the water account because all that legal liability for unpaid bills, that stays entirely with the property owner, the name on the deed. Plus, if you're in a multi-family spot, like a classic Chicago 2-flat, the building is rarely individually metered anyway. The owner just gets one big bill for the whole shebang.
Now, a quick aside for anyone heading to the suburbs. If you're moving just outside the city limits, places like the La Park, Chicago Ridge, or South Chicago Heights, you're going to face a much more traditional process. Out there, you actually do fill out standard applications, show your ID, and you'll often pay a security deposit, usually ranging from about $100 to $150. But back in Chicago proper, no deposits and definitely no standard tenant applications. Moving on to Section 2, preparing and applying. So if you can't just hit a sign-up button, what exactly do you do when you buy a house in Chicago? If you're buying a home in the city, this is absolutely the most critical vocabulary word you need to learn. The Full Payment Certificate, or FPC. It's a statutory requirement administered by the Department of Finance. Basically, think of it as the city's way of guaranteeing that the seller has paid off every last drop of their water bill before handing you the keys. Without an approved FPC, that property deed legally cannot be transferred to you. No exceptions. But hey, don't panic. Usually you don't have to navigate this maze completely alone. Normally, your title company or your real estate attorney will go ahead and submit that FPC application on your behalf. The Department of Finance then reviews the seller's account, makes sure there are absolutely zero outstanding balances, and issues the certificate. Only after all that can the deed be legally recorded in your name, which then automatically transfers the water account responsibility to you. It's really set up this way to protect you from inheriting the previous owner's massive unpaid water debt. All right, Section 3, fees and billing structure. Chicago utility bills are incredibly dense, so let's break down exactly where your hard-earned money goes every month. So the city issues what's called a unified utility bill, meaning you aren't just paying for water. You pay a base water consumption rate, which right now is about $37.18 per 1,000 cubic feet. But then, and this is the kicker, look at the sewer surcharge. This helps fund wastewater treatment, and it is a massive 100% surcharge on your water cost. On top of that, you've got a water sewer tax at $2.51 per 1,000 gallons, which actually funds municipal pensions. And finally, if you use city trash pickup, you get hit with a flat $9.50 garbage fee per month per unit. It all gets bundled together into one big bill. To put that into perspective, think about how that sewer surcharge directly impacts your wallet. Let's say your actual base water cost, the water you physically drank and showered with, comes to $50. Well, your total cost instantly doubles to $100 right off the bat simply because that sewer charge matches your water charge dollar for dollar. And that doubling happens before the municipal taxes and garbage fees are even applied. Honestly, this is exactly why Chicago water bills can feel so shockingly high to new residents. But take a breath because there is some financial help available. If you meet certain income thresholds, Chicago has the Utility Billing Relief, or UBR program, which can drastically reduce those rates. And this is huge. If you're a homeowner aged 65 or older, you absolutely must apply for the senior exemption. Seniors are completely exempt from that huge sewer surcharge and the water sewer tax. Plus, they get a 50% discount on the garbage fee. Seriously, applying for this can easily save you hundreds of dollars a year. Section 4, Timeline and Service Activation. The most crucial part here is knowing exactly when to take action, so you don't drop the ball during the chaos of moving day. Believe it or not, preparing for your water service actually starts weeks before you ever get the keys. 2 to 4 weeks prior to closing, you should be checking with your attorney to make sure that FPC application is actually in motion. Then, a week out, confirm everything is approved. But move-in day? That is critical. While you're busy directing movers and unboxing boxes, you need to carve out 5 minutes to establish a physical baseline. Then, about a week or two later, you'll go in and finalize your online profile. Let's zoom in on that move-in day checklist. First things first, physically locate your water meter and your main interior shutoff valve. Seriously, if a pipe bursts in the dead of winter, you need to know exactly where that valve is, even in the dark. Next, grab your phone and snap a photo of the actual meter reading. This becomes your baseline. If the city accidentally estimates your first bill based on some leaky toilet the previous owner had running for weeks, you now have rock-solid photographic proof of exactly where your consumption started. Also, give all your plumbing fixtures and faucets a quick check for leaks while you're at it. Section 5, Account Management and Support. Once you're finally unpacked, you're going to want this billing to practically run on autopilot. So about a week or two after closing, once your deed is officially recorded, jump onto utilitybill.chicago.gov. You'll use your shiny new account number to create a profile, link your property, and I highly recommend immediately enrolling in paperless billing and autopay. Do not just sit around waiting for a physical bill to show up in the mail. Municipal mail can definitely be delayed, and the city will smack you with a harsh 10% penalty if you pay late. Setting up that portal puts you fully in the driver's seat. While we're on the subject of managing your property, you really need to understand how your physical pipes work, because Chicago splits the responsibility. The city owns and maintains the massive water main out in the street, right? Up to what's called the curb stop, which is a valve usually located out near the sidewalk or parkway. But the pipe that runs from that curb stop through your front yard and into your basement, yeah, that is entirely your financial responsibility as the homeowner. Now, if things do go sideways, you need to know exactly who to call. For billing disputes or online portal headaches, you're going to want the Department of Finance. But if you have a technical issue, a leak, or need a plumbing inspection, you contact the Department of Water Management instead. Also, and this is incredibly important given Chicago's older housing stock, please check the lead pipe lookup portal at sli.chicagowaterquality.org. If it turns out your home has a lead service line, the city actually offers free water testing kits and free water filter pitchers. Section 6, Conclusion and Disclaimer. Let's wrap this explainer up and summarize the absolute most critical parts of our survival guide. Congratulations, you've officially mastered a notoriously complex municipal system. Let's lock in those core takeaways. Remember, Chicago Water is tied to the property deed, not your personal credit. If you're buying a home, your team absolutely must secure that full payment certificate. When budgeting, just expect that your water cost will effectively double thanks to that 100% sewer surcharge. And finally, take control of your account online right after you move in so you don't get hit with any nasty late fees. I do need to quickly mention that the information presented here is based on current municipal data and rate schedules, which, of course, are always subject to change. Make sure you verify the latest details, rates, and requirements directly with the Chicago Department of Finance, the Department of Water Management, or your specific local suburban authority for the absolute most up-to-date guidance. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, but before you go, I want to leave you with a quick thought. Now that you've seen exactly how those hidden costs, like that 100% sewer surcharge and municipal tax, compound on your unified bill, how will you audit your own water usage to maximize your savings this month? Will you finally check for that running toilet or maybe fix that dripping faucet? Because remember, every single drop you save doesn't just cut your base water rate, it slashes those taxes and surcharges right along with it. Thanks for learning with me today on this explainer.